Hi everyone, so I'm going to show you how rituals work and how a ritual is currently being done upon Ireland and how I believe it's connected to the Vatican. If you've seen any of my other work recently, you'll get the context for that. If you want the entire context, please watch War in the Name of God, a series exploring was McDarry right about what he said with regards to the Roman Catholic Church thieving the Bible from Ireland, externalizing the allegorical metaphysical characters and places of the Bible, creating a false temple in the Middle East, and doing everything in their power to destroy Ireland in the process ever since. And from what it looks like to me now, the very island of Ireland is under a very heavy attack, not just, the other heavy attacks that it's endured in the past, where, it really did start off with the Ulster plantation and then all of the troubles and the other troubles ever since, and, countless invasions. But now what we're seeing, especially since COVID and the lockdown and all of the immigration, it's just bubbling up to a head. And what I can see is it's by design, and it's been manipulated intentionally, which is what we call a false flag, isn't it? So tonight we're about to enter into the solstice in the Northern Hemisphere. That would be the summer solstice. And when was our last solstice? 6 months ago, Christmas time. That was the winter solstice. We all know that's to do with Newgrange. The summer solstice is to do with Carrowkeel on Ireland. And what happened last solstice was a Vatican ritual called the Holy Door ritual, which they do in the Jubilee time. And what's a Jubilee? It's meant to be a regular celebration that happens over, a certain period of time. Interestingly, these Vatican Jubilees have been speeding up. Used to be 100 years, then it was 50 years, now it's every 25 years. They're really trying to speed up their rituals, from what I see. And in that particular ritual, last solstice, they opened 5 holy doors. One of them, the second one, was a prison, and they opened all of these holy doors in the same timing where the moon entered into a particular star sign. And when I saw the current events which was happening on Ireland, as well as feeling what was happening in my own body and feeling terrible and wondering why, and I lined it all up, joined all the dots together, I was like, oh, well, when the Vatican opened that holy door, it lined up with Libra. And when they opened that one, it lined up with Scorpio. And when lined up with that one, it was Sagittarius. That one, it was Capricorn. They skipped Aquarius. Then they did Pisces. And then after that was all done, LA went on fire in the position of Aries, which is a fire sign. And so I'm going to show us the same movement. I noticed it. It was the same playbook. And it's happening, has been happening on Ireland, in the brain of Ireland, as we are approaching the summer solstice. So we've gone from winter solstice to summer solstice, and this is the moon and sun energy that they're using to create these rituals that are now fueling not only current events in Ireland, but in the false temple. So if you've seen my video called Irish People Disinherited, you'll know about me inspecting the map of the Middle East and comparing it to Ireland, which is the true temple of the Isa Christ, and showing that, everything that's happening in the Middle East is basically all of those places that are, considered to be like the holy places. They were never called that until Rome went and relabeled them in the Crusades, the Holy Crusades. Before that, they were not associated with the Bible. And what McDarry tells us is that all of the things that happen in the Bible are only ever meant to be spiritual, metaphysical, allegorical happenings. It's all within. So this is the big ruse. This is the truth that they've been trying to cover up and destroy any evidence of ever since for thousands of years. And what, in my opinion, now is they're coming to destroy Ireland from within, as usual, the same playbook, divide and conquer from within, get people fighting against themselves. while they use that energy as a loose energy to do the other things. So on June the 7th, the moon entered Libra, which is here, which is the mouth. Here's the body of Ireland. Here's the head. Here's the upper torso and the hands, the lower torso, the tailbone and the feet. Facing west, here's the eyes, the nose and the mouth of Ireland. And in the mouth position is the position of Libra. How do we know these zodiac positions? When we look at the map made by Anders Cowlands, he's showing that the megaliths that he's inspected upon Ireland have carvings in them which he can show other constellations in the heavens above. And when we put them all on the map and we draw them in like a zodiac wheel, they're all in exactly the right position. But there are a couple missing. Libra's missing, although Libra does share other stones, but it doesn't have its own stone, but it is, in this region. Aquarius the same, Pisces the same, but they do pop up on other zodiacs. So that's how we know the position, right? And so what's special about Libra? It's, archetypally, it means justice, and it's in the place of the mouth. That's where we speak. That's where we protest from. That's where we shout for justice from. And in this position here on the map of Anders Cowlands, we've got Hercules constellation. And Hercules is easily related to Jesus and Moses because of the story. The archetypal story is that all three of them were targeted from birth by someone that didn't want them to grow up to become who they were going to be. Because that person that would grow up would be opposing the evildoers, right? That's the archetypal position of Libra and Jesus and Moses and Hercules. It's happening in the mouth on June the 7th. And what do we know about June the 7th in Ireland is when the little girl was assaulted by two Romans. Yes, Romanians, but if we're breaking it down into code, it's Romans. Okay, because they were very, very conspicuous about really bringing attention to the fact that these two criminals needed translators, and they're using this word again in the news, right? Then the people that were outraged against this atrocity went to march and rally against it, and that was happening on that time period. Also on that same day, we have a march in Cork, a march in Dublin. We have a march against Gaza, what's happening in Gaza, and then we have a march for Jesus, all happening on the same day. Very interesting. How did they all get so organized to be on that particular day? I mean, it's a Saturday, so yeah, but I find that curious. Then as the moon starts moving, it moves to this position here, Donegal region, and this is Scorpio. What do we know about Scorpio? The scorpion, the eagle, and the phoenix. This is the triple Chintamani stone. This is the two optical eyes and the third eye. This is where we receive visual information from. And it goes through the eyes, it gets flipped in the lens, goes to the back of the retina, crosses over in the brain, hits the back of the brain where it gets processed, and then fired down the spinal column and then interpreted by the rest of the body as visual information because it's light. Pineal gland also operates on light. So we have the light coming in to the brain in this region. And this is where Ballymena riots started taking place, right? In the brain of Ireland, as this moon energy is getting amplified by the third eye, the psychic ability of the body. Then as that energy goes into the next star sign, it's into Sagittarius, which is the crown chakra. And Sagittarius is the archer shooting that arrow. And that arrow gets shot back into the brain of Ireland if we're following this Kabbalistic diagram down. And it's a full moon. And that was a really amplified full moon. I could feel it and I felt terrible. I not only felt terrible, I felt like I had so much energy in my body, and all of that energy was anger and hatred. And I didn't know what was happening until I tuned into the news, because my friend said it was kicking off in Ireland. And then I found out about this riots in Ballymena and everything, and it was just pure hatred, amplified in the brain of Ireland, running. And this is where they turned, the original protest energy, which was against atrocities to children and women in their own land by foreign people, they sort of spun it into anti-racism, which is not the same thing. It's not. But they're using the current events and the recent historical events of the immigration since COVID and all of the anger that's generated within the local people because of the housing situation and what the government is giving to people that are from a faraway land and not even helping out their own people. Not going to go into any of that, but that's got a lot of anger and hatred. And then when those people that have been welcomed in cause atrocities on their children, and then they're not even allowed to voice that before it gets turned into this distortion, that's more anger and hatred because it's a media spin. So all of that's going on, and it's been amplified by a full moon. And this is what I'll explain if you haven't seen my work. The whole body of Ireland, shaped like a human body, is the hologram of the human body. This is a big one. This is a little one. What do we have in common? It's a human body. And this is what Rudolf Steiner is telling us 100 years ago. He's saying that Ireland is the mirror of the Garden of Paradise. And so if this body that we've all been given, is the Garden of Paradise, and Ireland is that mirror, Ireland can be used ritualistically to control the hologram, which is called every single human being. And that's what I'm really trying to explain with this work, is that, as above, so below, as within, so without, all of this sacred secretion and that alchemy stuff that everyone's so interested in, it's literally happening right now on the giant hologram of Ireland. So what I want to present at the end of this is like what we can do positively to rectify this kind of dark black magic, and we can start doing our own. But we have to know how it works, right? So that energy, that full moon energy, that Sagittarius archer shooting from air to water to fire into the earth, happens in Capricorn when the moon moves into Capricorn on the 13th. And what's in this region is Belfast, and what's in this region is Holywood. Holywood, and this is what I really noticed, is when you listen to the news, they say, oh, a riot, a protest has been staged. This is the stage. And what happened on that day? Israel bombs Iran with all of the loose energy that's gathered up in the brain of Ireland. Because what have I shown in my other videos? If you've seen Irish People Disinherited or the War in the Name of God series, you'll know that in this region of the brainstem of Ireland, the true temple, and the false temple, the reversed one over in the Middle East, this is the position of Israel. So they collected up all that loose energy from all those protests of the people of Ireland, the angry people that have been genocided in their own land, and they used it for the false temple of Israel. I'm not going to go into it. I just want to present what I see because it's going to be long already. Then the moon moves into Aquarius, which is the middle of the body, which is the actual brainstem. This is sort of the external coastal region. This is the actual anatomical region of the brainstem. And that, as you can see, has now encircled Loch Ness, the largest lake in Ireland, which is what I consider anatomically to be the ventricular system of the brain. The brainstem, this is the face of God, and this is connecting the cerebral spinal fluid up and down the spine, which is the Jacob's ladder, which is the whole story of Israel. Okay, so that's the moon going into Aquarius, and on these positions, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, this is when last solstice, the Roman Catholic Church opened the holy doors. That one, the third eye, that was the prison called Rebibia prison. Why are they opening a prison into a holy door ceremony? And then, which we've just come out of, or we're still in right now, the moon moves into this region here, which is Pisces, which is Newgrange, North, South, Louth, which is the northern ecliptic of the body, pointing towards the North Star. That's the alignment, and that's the earth clock, and that's where the sun rises over Red Mountain every year during the winter solstice and lights up the cross, the crest, cruciform chamber, and that is the earth clock, which is also in the position anatomically of the back of the heart. This is the gate into the heart, and we can see opposite this Newgrange heart gate, solstice to solstice. This is Caro Keel, and this is what is the upcoming solstice happening tonight, my time, is when the sun sets. It lights up the roof box into the internal chamber at one of the mounds in Caro Keel. So we can see sunrise, sunset, winter and summer, this sort of yin-yang juxtaposition. And this is the energy of the sun inside the cycles of the energies of the moon. So this is the sun-moon rituals, okay? So now we are approaching Aries for the solstice. The solstice lines up with Aries. Aries is in the position of between Dublin and Wicklow. What do we have in Wicklow? Hollywood. 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 What do we know about the last solstice ritual with the Vatican? It went Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, Pisces. They finished on Pisces, and when the moon shifted into Aries, LA went on fire. Fire ritual. So now we have the solstice, which is a fire ritual in itself, but a natural one, in the position of the moon moving into Aries, which is a fire sign. So it's a double fire. And this is when the energy moves into the gate between the kidneys. And the kidneys in Chinese medicine are considered to be like the powerhouse of your body. And between the kidneys, there's a point, and it's called Ming Men, and it means the gate of destiny. And so Qigong practice and an alchemical practice is all about changing your fate into your destiny, which is like something that was out of your control, and now you're going to be able to control it consciously. And what I noticed is that yesterday, sorry, that was my dog. Was it yesterday or the night before? Ireland announced this law for this new bill saying that if you don't opt out, your organs will be owned by the government. So if you die and someone needs your organs, your family doesn't have to sign over permission because they have no say. So to me, in the context of what I'm presenting with all the other stuff, in terms of, you know, what the Vatican's been doing with the birth certificate, the baptism certificate, they want to own your vessel, they want to own your soul, and now they want to own your organs as it's surrounding. Here's Aries here, here's Virgo in the solstice, Aquarius, we've been there, Pisces, we've been here. And what's in the center? That's your heart, where your spirit lives. So this is surrounding this area. So what I'm proposing that we do, I've been experimenting with this for the last few days with a couple of other people, which was when the moon moved into Pisces. I suggested that we get a glass of water and we program it with the Psalm 23 in Irish, which I've already prepared for everyone on my YouTube channel. You program that glass of water by putting it on your speaker, playing the sound into it, cover the glass or like a mug so it doesn't get light influences from the external. And then you draw a map of Ireland. And now that we're approaching Aries, you put it here on this Wicklow, Dublin, Hollywood area, the gate of destiny. You protect it because Psalm 23 has been proven to dispel negative energy. So we want to protect our gate from negative energies coming in. And you can also put one on Loch Ree, on your solar plexus, because that is the internal position of Aries, organ-wise. And Re is the shortened word for rib or ribbon, and that relates back to Eve, the rib of Adam, and it also relates back to Judah, the Lion of Judah, and the red ribbon, and all those tribes of Judah kind of stories. And it's also Loch Ree is on the river Shannon, which is the river Sion or Zion, the heavenly river. So if we can do that in harmony with the moon entering that zodiac sign, I feel that that is a really good way to protect our little Garden of Eden as a hologram of the Garden of Eden Ireland, larger version, because we can honestly see what's been happening with all of the controlled energy and the anger and the hatred and everything. They're really trying to use Ireland as a solstice to solstice joining of, I'm not quite sure how it works, but there's holy doors, unholy doors, to control yet again the brain of the Garden of Eden. So I hope that made sense. If it doesn't, I'll just make another shortened explanation version, but I just wanted to give you the context of how I'm seeing it. I've been doing this work for at least 3.5 years now. So this is how I see the world of magic. And this is how I believe that we have to start working in these invisible ways, because we all know that protest doesn't work. You're just giving energy to the thing that you don't want. And this is what, we can all see is how religious control systems work. People use prayer, they use the energy and they give it to this externalized temple where they should be actually giving it to the true temple, which is your own human body. And also in this context of using the Psalm 23 and programming water, if you want to know about that stuff, look at my part 7, War in the Name of God. It goes into all the physics of it, but basically, on a basic level, we already know from Masaru Emoto's work that thought and intention and prayer can change the structure of water molecules. We are made of water molecules. So if we can program the water molecules and put them on the hologram, we can program our human body as well. This is real alchemy. It's proven by physics. Have a look at my Physics of Genesis Psalm 23 video for the short version. The long version is in part 7. I wish you a beautiful solstice.